Welcome to Sparks Stadium in Puyallup, Washington. The WIAA Network presents the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington Les Schwab Tires 3A Girls Soccer Championships. We're in the semifinal round as Holy Names takes on Mount Spokane. Alex Webster, along with Tom Smith, on the call here as we had a heck of a first semifinal and went down to penalty kicks, and coming out the victor in that one, Columbia River. And so the winner of this one will take on the Chieftains tomorrow afternoon for the state title.
It's going to be a heck of a game, we think. You never know these semifinals. Often in soccer tournaments, those are the best games, and the first one did not disappoint. Coming from behind, Columbia River equalized, forcing overtime, and they went to penalty kicks to make the decision. And again, so many storylines there, so many storylines here, as the Holy Names Cougars came from the bottom of the table nearly in the Metro League, won their way through to this championships. They faced adversity throughout the year, and with a 15-win, 5-loss, 2-ties record, they're going to take on a 19-0 undefeated Mount Spokane Wildcats. A familiar theme, as we saw the number 1 ranked Menadale Mavericks undefeated and put down by the Columbia River team after surviving Bainbridge. But in this case, the Wildcats and the Cougars, it's going to be a catfight.
It is going to be a catfight, and we expect a good one. As Holy Names ranked 7th in the state by the Seattle Times, Mount Spokane Wildcats ranked number 2. You mentioned the undefeated mark for Mount Spokane, and we're already underway here. 40-minute halves in high school soccer, and we're going to see a good one throughout the remainder of this evening under the lights at Sparks Stadium here in Puyallup. Glad you could join us here on the WIAA Network. And it is, I believe, the Holy Names squad that is in the crimson here, as Mount Spokane, the team in the white uniforms. The Mount Spokane Wildcats colors, navy blue, cardinal, and white, and Holy Names, maroon and white out there. And it's been a quick nearly first minute of play as both teams trying to feel each other out a little bit here and get a sense for what we have in store. And both teams with streaks on the line. Mount Spokane 19-0. They've won them all, but Holy Names, they've been on a tear as well. They've won 9 in a row, and the Metro Mountain champions coming in here to take on a team that is yet to give up a loss so far.
Holy Names unseated the Seattle Prep Panthers, last year's champions in the Metro League tournament, and coming here, they had to down Everett side that beat Kennedy Catholic 4-0, beating Peninsula and then taking Everett down 2-1 in a shootout form and fashion, and an early favor for them as they get the first restart.
Yep, and it is a little bit of contact. We've seen a good amount of contact thus far, and for Holy Names, it's going to be A.J. Fisher that will take this set piece here. A couple of good goalkeepers, Shannon McReynolds for the Wildcats and Kayla Baskett for Holy Names. Nice chip into the box, and we'll see, tracking it down and finally grabbing it. That's Holy Names, or rather Mount Spokane's Shannon McReynolds on the grab there in the green kit.
Julia Hahn jumping in and on position there in case McReynolds fumbled the ball at all. If you squint your eyes, it could look like a Derby from London, the West Hammers in maroon and the Tottenham Hotspur in the white and black. And in a sense, it's quite a different story. We've got the east side versus the west side. Mount Spokane coming all the way over, and Holy Names coming out of the Metro League, which is a downtown Seattle league for the most part. And so it's over. It's a Cascadia, Rabio, the west to the east.
Some of the top players in this one for Holy Names, they come in 15-5 and 2. Kayla Baskett in goal. They've got a standout forward in Katie Chandler. On the defensive line, Angela Fisher, one to keep an eye on, and also up front for the Cougars, Annie Flora, just a freshman, up on the front line. The Cougars going for the trifecta. They've won the Metro League tournament title. They're also winning the state academic title as well. They're going to go for it all as they have 10 seniors on their roster. 6 of them will go on to play at the collegiate level next year.
And really kind of a tough deal for Teddy Metalis, the coach.
We got a shot on goal, and it's quickly scooped up. That one from far outside the box, but already Holy Names showing their aggressiveness on offense.
10 seniors on the squad. You say that's tough. You got that senior leadership, but also there's only 11 spots in the field, and you've got a rich array of talent coming up from freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, and he really had to find a way to make the best of that.
Mount Spokane, this is Sierra Bizdecek, I should say, that was working with it and finally out of bounds. And it's going to be Mount Spokane ball here as they'll have to track it down on the far side. The officials in this one, Ed Eldridge is the head official. Tim Logan and Katie Fadden are the lines people. Here's the throw-in from Mount Spokane. And it's tapped in front of the box. Cougars trying to get rid of it. A little bit of contact in there, and this one finally squirreled away to the sidelines. And it again would be Wildcat throw-in coming.
So when the time is tough there in front of goal, you must clear the ball. So what Teddy Metalis did is he did a Pete Carroll thing, and he said, okay, everybody is going to have a chance to play throughout the season. You're going to be competing. Show me that in the crunch, playoff time, the postseason, I want you in the game.
Another throw-in. We saw a score in the semifinals off a set piece like that. This one challenged well in front. Finally, the Cougars able to clear it out to the wing.
Annie Flora digging in and do some good defensive work for the Cougs.
Wildcats staying on it, though, as the Cougars can't clear it as far out as they'd like. Now they get a little run on that far sideline. Little battle ensuing there. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to scout out those players from all the way up here with the rain falling quite a bit. We had temperatures in the low 40s. It's going to get into the high 30s. And that rain is coming down at a pretty good drizzle right now under the lights at Sparks Stadium here in Puyallup for the semifinal. The other semifinal of the 3A Girls State Soccer Championships. The winner will take on Columbia River in the championship game tomorrow afternoon right here.
Nice composure over the ball. Holy Names starting with a 4-4-2, pretty standard formation. 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, 2 attackers. Unusual array for Mount Spokane. Coach Ryan Campanella, the 8-year coach, employs a 3-5-2, so expect a lot of crowdedness in the midfield and also throwing those wings up as part of the attack.
I was going to say, you don't see that one as often. And we'll see how that works out for them. Obviously, it's worked out very well for them to a 19-0 record thus far. The head coach for the Mount Spokane Wildcats, Ryan Campanella, assisted by Zach Contreras, Allison Cowart, and Tara Davidson, along with Shauna Osterbach.
Kelsey Frank warming up the ball, drying it off for this throw-in, Alex.
Here it comes. Challenge inside. I think this is going to go for a corner as it caromed off of one of the Cougars out of bounds.
A.J. Fisher wanting a better move than that. So under pressure, the Cougars playing it safe. Better to give up the corner than to leave the ball bouncing in the box.
So the Wildcats from Mount Spokane, they're out of the city of Meade out there in the Spokane region. And here's a set piece coming up. Little wide. This one headed. Caromed. Cougars able to clear it. Nice reactions from the keeper.
And Kayla Basket took one in the basket there. You saw it go off the post. She used her body and her arms to flag it off the crossbar and not asking for time for consideration as the Wildcats get set to continue the pressure.
Yep, it's been all Mount Spokane thus far. Here's the throw-in now from the other side. Good head in the direction of the box, but this one off the end line, and now the Cougars of Holy Names will be able to clear it on out.
Well, Basket's going to shake this one off and try to stay in the game. That's tough to do in the important keeper position. Talking about that battle to compete for your starting positions or time on the field during the playoffs. Coach Metalis has felt it's really worked to his advantage. His team is stronger now, and he's able to go to the lineup. The girls understand that he's going to call on the ones that he thinks is ready to go. And there's really an ongoing story we'll refer to back and forth in terms of how Coach Metalis has learned so much and adjusted. This team has come together. They've got a great chemistry between players and coach this year.
And the Cougars head coach, Teddy Metalis, assisted by Jeff Bonaire, Abby Hunt, Sam Propicio, and Jennifer Sorensen, helping out on that staff that's come all this way after downing Peninsula for their first playoff win since 2007. Early on in this one, they had to go to a shootout with Everett last week to make it here to the semifinals.
This is a team for Mount Spokane of sisters. You have the Frank sisters as Kelsey Frank makes her way up after Carly Frank forces the Cougars to play out for a Wildcats throw-in. Also the Nielsen sisters, one of them starting, number 20, Katie.
And for Mount Spokane, Kelsey Frank will look to line up the corner, or rather the throw-in coming up here. as the Cougars, or rather the Wildcats, keeping the pressure on the Cougars here as we spent the good part of the first 10 minutes down in this end of the field, although Holy Names had a couple of runs at the other end in probably the first couple of minutes.
Well, it's kind of an unusual throw-in by Kelsey Frank. She barely gets stationary, and always a question of whether those feet are on the ground when you make the throw with motion like that.
Holy Names, state champs back in 1999. This is their first semifinal appearance since 2007. They had opening round losses in 2009 and in 2010. Back the other way, the Cougars trying to mount a challenge over here on the right wing. Deflected out in that unique setup for Mount Spokane.
Julia Hahn, she's been busy up front. Mackenzie Oliger asking her to give a chase on a ball that she really couldn't catch to.
So here's Shannon McReynolds, the goalkeeper for the Wildcats, looking to clear it out. Mount Spokane, 19-0, ranked second in the state. And Ryan Campanella, assisted by Zach Contreras, Allison Cowart, Tara Davidson, and Shauna Osterbach. And the Wildcats have had good pressure early on in this one. Keep an eye on midfielder Alyssa Lloyd. She is a good one. Had 2 goals and an assist in a 4-0 win over Kamayakin to get to this round. Here's a nice chip across the box. This one up in the air and a little bit too high as the Cougars mounting their best attack thus far.
Oliger doing a good job getting space, putting the ball up high, keeping it away from the keeper, and giving her teammates a chance to get a shot. Wasn't on goal, but a good opportunity.
Yeah, Alyssa Lloyd, one of those midfielders for Mount Spokane. She's a good one, just a junior. Katie Nilsson, a junior forward, also to keep an eye on, as is forward Riley Richardson, a senior. Let's get a look at the starting lineups. Here first for Mount Spokane. We mentioned a few of those names thus far. And Shannon McReynolds, the one to watch. Richardson, Martin, Lloyd, Peterson, Frank, Flagger, Nelson, Frank. Nilsson also into the mix. And good action and good traffic out in front of the Cougar goal, or rather the Mount Spokane goal. Ryan Campanella, the head coach. And now the starting lineups for names. As Basket, we mentioned her in goal. McGonigal, Oiler, Chandler, Capilouto, Fisher, Holt, Flora, Kip, all in the mix there. A good lineup. And there's another stop by Shannon McReynolds.
Just like a charm, you put up the starting lineups and all of a sudden the Cougars threatening to score several times.
Well, they must like graphics. And we'll put up some more perhaps as the rest of the match continues. But so far scoreless with 28 minutes to go in this first 40, if you will, 40-minute halves in high school soccer.
A lot of these girls playing club for both teams, in particular Holy Names in all of the top programs. However, for Mount Spokane, the sole premier club for girls soccer is called the Shadow. So we make allusion to operating under the shadows, behind graphics, not being quite sure what Mount Spokane is about. They're a little less known to these players, player to player, but also the team concept of Ryan Campanella and their squad.
And for Mount Spokane, no familiar to being at this end of the field, as they've made a pretty good living thus far trying to attack the goal. Here's another throw-in. Good challenge out in front. This one caroms away, and the Cougars trying to take it back the other direction. Good hustle and good activity on the near sideline. That one won by Holy Name.
Very patient by Katie Chandler. One thing they do know about Mount Spokane coming is a physical team. So playing in that tough Metro League, you've got to be ready to put your body over the ball, play the ball, and then shield yourself for the expected pressure.
Kelsey Frank with it a moment ago. Then Ashley Peterson back into the middle. They were looking for Bezdacek. Names back the other way. Good lead pass.
Julia Hahn on it again, but in a different position, Alex.
Working on it on the left wing, and it's drilled out of bounds off the end line. And we'll have a corner coming for Holy Names. it looks like it'll be Julia Hahn out there. You mentioned her just a moment ago. One of the three forwards, starring Chandler and Sadolinik.
Very interesting setup here for Holy Names.
Headed out nicely by the Wildcats. And still in the early going. Holy Names getting this one one-on-one. Missed opportunity for the Cougars.
And the offside would have meant that it would not have gone. But again, the Cougars walking that thin line. The Wildcats playing a dangerous game there.
Katie Chandler was right there in the midst, but she was the one offsides.
Also, I like the way that number 18, Emily Sahadolnik, sets up on the end. I call it the bottle cap. So many, your kicks come across, and it's hard to contain, so they skip wide. So Holdolnik will be in a position to pounce on those if they can secure more crosses in from the wide or corner kicks such as they've had.
Foul whistled. It'll go the Cougars' way. As that one whistled by head official Ed Eldridge there. As we're nearing the midway mark of our first half of action in this 3A girls state semifinal between Holy Names Academy and Mount Spokane. Nice work on the near side by Katie Kipp. Centered it up nicely, take it away by the Wildcats. Finally controlled back there and then lost the handle on it.
Well, Holy Names is successful in applying pressure and keeping it down in this end. That 3-5-2 working to the advantage of Mount Spokane as those three defenders have 5 midfielders to rally up, and they're marking their men, they're marking their players as they come free in the area.
Mount Spokane rated second in the state by the Seattle Times. Holy Names down at 7, but ahead of their league mate Seattle Prep, the defending champions, who are extricated from the mix a couple of weeks ago by Columbia River, who will find their way into the state title game for tomorrow.
Nice turn by the Mount Spokane midfielder. I think that was Katie Nielsen.
Working with it on the sideline, that was Holy Names. Now the Wildcats trying to take it back. Nice sliding save by Peterson.
And the Cougars just keep pounding.
They're relentless right now. And here is Frank that moves it out to the sideline, and that's where the Cougars will have it coming up here in just a moment. Last week, Mount Spokane, a 4-0 win over Kamiakin. Carly Frank with an early goal in the first 6 minutes. And then Madison Boyd coming up with a goal, and then Allison Lloyd finishing it with 2.
Mackenzie Oliger is ready to pounce on any miscue by the Wildcats, anything around that area.
Centered shot, and this one is picked up by McReynolds again, who's seen a lot of traffic down there. And, of course, we mentioned the keeper for Holy Names, Kayla Baskett, who had a little lump on her head. Here's Mount Spokane clearing it out one more time as Baskett, both keepers, getting an opportunity early to get into the mix.
Wildcats having to turn that one out, so a throw-in by the Cougars give them a chance to do something with Katie Kipp will do the throw-in. But again, number 6, Julia Hahn, number 16, Katie Chandler, just lurking around the middle of the ball, and the Cougars providing service. So keep an eye on that and see how that will help. They're going to have to be careful not to get caught on a counter, though, by Mount Spokane.
Throw in from Kipp in our 18th minute. This one centered in front of the box. Little trouble there. Oh, my goodness. Nice challenge by the Wildcats to finally get that one moved out towards midfield. Big collision in the mix, and I'll tell you what, we're not going to have any shortage of aggressiveness out there as a couple of players collide, and Katie Nilsson, it looks like, for Mount Spokane, might be banged up a little bit.
Now, Alex, that was a fair charge, both players going at it. Some referees will just call that anyhow to make sure, but there was no foul, and they're just wanting to make sure, given the potential of head injuries, can be so devastating for these young kids. That is rule number 1, and a good job by the referee out there.
Yep, Nilsson quickly over to the training table and getting that. Not sure if might have gotten a bloodied nose perhaps in that collision. It was a pretty hard collision out there. But the clock stopped briefly for the injury at the moment. As that a little bit different than maybe what you're used to seeing on the MLS broadcast of the Sounders and such, that they do stop the clock here for the injury, so there's not as much injury time or extra time added.
And the free kick award to Holy Names is not for any foul. It's just because they had possession at the time of the injury stoppage by the referee.
Again, all done for safety. And here is the kick from the far sideline into the mix, and a nice challenge once again inside the box. Cougars just keeping on the attack. Wildcats able to clear it out a little bit as Riley Richardson was trying to go for it. Names gets it back once again. Now does Mount Spokane. Danica Martin. And then this one will go off of a Cougar.
Yep. Katie Kipp stepping up, but Oliger trying to find her in the return, and she was already playing back defensively. So
Mackenzie Oliger checking in for the injured, or rather, Whitney Weaver checking in for the injured Wildcat a moment ago. Substitutions come a little more freer.
And bench play can make a difference. We saw that in the first game of the semifinals here.
It went down to deep into the bench of penalty shooters to decide the other semifinal. This one, no score as we near the mid-mark of the first half. Cougars moving it up ahead into empty space. This one will be run down by Dallas Flagger.
Sheila Hahn making one of her rare forays back to play some defense. Thought she saw Katie Chandler making a move into the corner, and that's why that ball went in. And the Wildcats and the Cougars had to give chase in that regard.
And throw in for Mount Spokane here. Kelsey Frank seems to do a lot of the work on this near side, be it throw in or be it corner kicks. Ball hit deep into Cougar territory. In pursuit, Alyssa Lloyd, she's their big scorer. Centers it and unable to do anything with it. Are the Wildcats and the Cougars now able to work it the other way?
Now Holy Names has opened up Mount Spokane. Can they take advantage on the counter?
In pursuit, good defense by the Wildcats. They had the numbers as it was 2 red jerseys on about 4 white ones down there, but the Cougars tenaciously getting it back. This
Dumping
is
in the corner
Sedol
again.
Yep.
But no one, that's not
one's
on in
there.
that case. So we're about halfway through the first period, and, you know, number 14, Alyssa Lloyd, leads the team with 10 goals and 10 assists. She has been mostly pinned at the back. That was the first time you called her name on that foray, but notice how dangerous she is as she puts that cross, and there were several opportunities for a teammate to jump onto it. It wasn't there for the Wildcats.
Well, you know that with those 10 goals and 10 assists, she'll look to set others up. That was the case there. We'll see what they do here. Up the left sideline. Come the Wildcats. Centering pass. Taken away by the Cougars. That was Carly Frank that was on the left flank.
One of the Frank sisters on the flank.
Yep. It is a game of sisterhood out there. Mount Spokane scrumming for it, coming away with it. To the near side they come. Into the motion. Nice pass off. Frank with it again. Looking to the inside. Now nice little touch pass back outside.
Nice job shepherding it out by A.J. Fisher. Well, finally we're seeing a little bit of action with Alyssa Lloyd up top. You can see even in the midfield how she is the engine of where that goes. But they've got the wall pass action happening on the left side too. Holy Names, when they can pin her back, really at the advantage. But when she's down in this end, a little bit more concern.
Kayla Baskett with the goal kick, or rather allowing one of her teammates to take it here. Good challenge in the middle as Holy Names. Katie Chandler trying to battle with it. And once again, the Wildcats come away. But Cougars taking it back. Good contact there up ahead. Mackenzie Oliger, who had checked in a little while ago.
Now that's a really serious foul by Julia Hahn. Not going to see caution here. Not even a conversation. But how about Mackenzie Oliger, number 10, in the maroon, coming up and poaching that ball. When you can nick it like that off a midfielder, and Alyssa Lloyd has been dangerous, that can slow down her rhythm.
And that'll be critical as Lloyd, one of the top performers, if not the top performer, for the Wildcats of Mount Spokane. Cougars unable to clear. Here's a set piece. One-timer at the goal, and nice pickup on the long-distance shot by Kayla Baskett.
Not a bad idea by Peterson, that long ball in. Obviously an easy catch for the goalkeeper, so you don't want too many of those. But what Mount Spokane is doing is mixing up their attack. Early on, a really strong midfield development. They build their attack. But under pressure by Holy Names, they've been able to long ball it a little bit. And for Peterson to see if she can't cross the box and give a chance for the other side players to run onto it, excellent way to kind of maybe get Holy Names on the back heel a bit.
Cougars with the goal kick. 17 and some change to play in the first half. As a substitution, I believe, for Holy Names, checking in now. For the Cougars, Caitlin Faust, senior midfielder.
And see how she performs off the bench for Coach Metalis and the Cougars.
I believe she came in for Megan Nielsen. Cougars on the attack.
Ooh.
Nice centering pass. Deflected out by the Wildcats. Now they'll work the left sideline, but can't get to it in time. Cougar throw in, and they get on it right away. This one chipped out once again by the Wildcats.
Credit the defense of number 19, Ashley Peterson. She's taking the initiative there, trying to keep the Cougars from taking advantage.
Cougars, I'll tell you, they do not waste any time on those throw-ins. They get them in right away. Mount Spokane losing the handle. That's Kelsey Frank that could not control it. So the Cougars in this 0-0 affair in the first half of this 3A girls semifinal. Getting the throw in here.
Nice healthy throw in by Faust into the box.
Another centering pass there, looking for a crimson jersey, couldn't find it. Maroon and white will have it, though, as it caroms off of a Wildcat.
Gone are the days where you just use the throw-in to get the ball back in action. If you're in the attacking third, it's a chance to attack your opponent. We've seen that in both games so far. In the early going, the Cougars using Faust. And don't forget, the Kelsey Frank, very effective from this near sideline, this near touchline for the Wildcats.
And we saw that in the previous semifinal, that a set piece off of a throw-in accounted for one of the goals in that contest. So goals at a premium thus far here in the first half, as both teams operating fairly well. I think they want to find a better level of efficiency. Goal kick, or rather corner kick, coming up for Holy Names here. On its way, left-footed boot, cleared out. Cougars get it back. This one centered, but a bouncing save secured by McReynolds.
Good job by Mount Spokane to pull the line up. They're working their way outside of the goal area. Only one in the 6-yard area for Holy Names, a completely different configuration for this corner kick. So that's going to make it challenging for Mount Spokane to adjust at halftime to see so many different looks from the Cougars.
Wildcats' Katrina Holt battling on the near sideline, evades a couple of Cougars. Now needs to find some space here. Is not getting much love there. And it looks like the Cougars very aggressive, trying to steal the throw-in, but
A.J. Fisher.
It will be Wildcat ball.
Now you can see why she plays the center back in that 4-4-2 alignment for the Cougars.
Danica Martin with the throw-in, but the official whistling before the throw-in. We've got a substitution coming up here, it looks like, for Mount Spokane.
A.J. Fisher, we saw her trying to sell a corner kick into a goal kick early. That didn't work. We saw her try to steal the throw-in. You know, if you think there's any chance that that's your ball, pick it up and go. That's what you're coached to do.
Sophomore forward Madison Boyd will check in here in the offensive end. Frank with the throw-in. Headed out, and she'll do it again. Soccer version of do-over.
Defenses love to force you into that. Just frustrate the heck.
Frank again with the throw-in. And this one bounding near the net. This one in! Score! Mount Spokane off the carom and in. Wow!
Well, you talked about those throw-ins being dangerous and how it tallied the first score in the first semifinal. The throw-in by Frank. The excellent positioning at the near post by Alyssa Lloyd as she nods it up. The goalkeeper drawn out. And then the goal just put away in the open net.
Just drilled back on the left back half, and a 1-0 lead now for Mount Spokane as they look to remain undefeated. They draw first blood in this one. Ton of time left. We're still in the first half with 13 minutes to go. Those set pieces can be deadly, and we saw about the frustration of Frank throwing it in several times. I don't know if that lulls the defense to sleep at all.
Well, they designed that one perfectly with Frank at the near post and it bouncing over the defenders. A bit of good luck going your way. Never bothered a team built to win. And so now Holy Names is down 1-0 after applying so much pressure. Can they respond here in the first half with just under 13 minutes to go?
Well, Names has been tabbed a little bit as the comeback kids. They've won 9 in a row, but they're recovering from early illness and injuries, making a late run at the Metro League title. So they certainly have the opportunity to bounce back. They've been perhaps a little bit more the aggressors so far in this first half.
The goal for Mount Spokane off the header, number 11, Madison Boyd.
Madison Boyd getting credit for the goal on the header for Mount Spokane.
Madison Boyd, not related to Alyssa Lloyd, who would certainly be given the first assist. I would be surprised if you don't also credit Kelsey Frank. I don't know if they do 2 assists. I don't think they do 2 assists in high school ball, but that was a great teamwork effort, a bang-bang throw-in near the attacking near post.
Well, Boyd with a goal in the win over Kamiakin last week in the quarterfinals, so she's keeping the offense in motion, and no doubt we'll probably be calling Alyssa Lloyd's name later on in this one, if not for the assist, if we can get the official crediting of that. But good challenge here in the middle as the Cougars keeping the pressure on. Wildcats trying to carry the momentum with them, perhaps to another goal here before halftime with 11:25 to go before the intermission.
You talked earlier about the importance of the players coming off the bench. Substitute Madison Boyd converting, the sophomore forward, pouncing on that opportunity. And you got to seize your moments when you get a chance to play in the game.
And she was pretty fresh into the contest at that point in time. So they're pulling the right strings over there, the head coach, Ryan Campanella of the Wildcats from Mount Spokane in Meade, Washington. Glad you could join us here for the 3A Girls State Soccer Semifinals. Winner of this one will take on Columbia River for the state championship tomorrow afternoon at 2. We'll be on the call for that one for you as well here on the WIAA network. Ooh, sprawling attempt. That one kind of lazily was out there. I didn't think it had much of a chance, but it was a lot closer than we gave it credit for.
Closer, and McReynolds sprawled just in case, protecting that post. Noticing that she's staying pinned on her goal line between the pipes, and of course that's because Holy Names is trying to get the ball in. The service is outside the 6, inside the 18. She's not going to take any unnecessary risks, but good reaction there from her goal line to cover that near post.
Just a junior. She'll be back next year, but wants a state title this year, and her team in the lead here in the first half. The Cougars trying to counter, working with it. They've had some good rhythm offensively, just have not been able to finish. They've had some good looks. Goal kick coming up.
I want to credit the work of number 10, Mackenzie Oliger, for the Cougars. Her team trailing 1-0. She was part of the reason why we've assessed that the early momentum, the greater part of the pressure has come from the Cougars. I'm not sure you can say it came against the run of play because Mount Spokane sort of on the counter was beginning to build some attacks, but certainly the Cougars with the early initiative have now find themselves down 1-0.
Cougars getting it back off of that kind of misplay on the goal kick. Now Spokane able to corral it in the corner though.
Good job by Dallas Flagger to track that down, flagging it down really to make sure it doesn't get under the boot of a Cougar.
Back to midfield. Looking for some space, and the ball can carry him a lot of different ways, and a hard shot. Riley Richardson stunned a little bit back there at midfield, but back into play. Here's Holy Names on the attack. Centering pass. This one up into the air, and will go off the end line for a goal kick. We mentioned the pressure for Holy Names. That was a good bit of it there.
You want to do better when you get a shot in, a nice cross in from Mackenzie Oliger. She did her part to win the ball, beating Ashley Peterson into the corner. And maybe what you could do is a little less arc in that ball, make it a bit more initiative. And the Holy Names Cougar forwards are having a chance out there.
Again, the goal kick turns back around to the Cougars pretty quickly, but here in transition come the Wildcats. Holy Names tracking it down defensively, looking for some space there. Out towards midfield. Mount Spokane getting it back.
Those 5 midfielders makes it really difficult for your defenders just to launch the ball up the touch lines and expect a Cougar to run onto it. They're going to have to be a little bit more purposeful in terms of owning the ball and finding solid person to pass to, not just launching it up.
Madison Boyd had it on the right wing for a moment. She scored the lone goal in the game a few moments ago. Mount Spokane continuing to control in their own offensive half. Cougars trying to get it out there, but the lane's clogged with a lot of white shirts, sliding tackle, and the Cougars come away with it. But right back, Ashley Peterson for the Wildcats. Working. Mount Spokane controlling it. Dropping it a little too far as they were looking for Carly Frank.
Number 8, Danica Martin, the senior midfielder, playing a key role there, running alongside Alyssa Lloyd, number 14. And when Danica can control the ball the way she does and find the feet of her teammates, it's going to really help that midfield control for Mount Spokane. They've shown they're lethal on the launches, but they got to get back to building the attacks.
Senior Danica Martin subbing in, replacing Sydney Nelson. Mount Spokane trying to corral it on the far side, but they get it right back to the Cougars. Cougars have a challenge trying to keep it in bounds on the far side. The linesman Tim Logan over there saying it is going to be Wildcat ball. Possession. Check that. Katie Fadden over there. The lines person on the far side. Scrum near midfield for possession. 6:21 to go in the first half. Mount Spokane leading Holy Names 1-0.
Just like the two teams that have earned their way here, the game officials earning their way here. They tend to be assignments that go to the more experienced referees. And that means you're going to get a little more consistent refereeing, just more that you can rely on as a coach and as players. You like to see that.
No one able to really put a run together here in this midfield. The Cougars trying to find an entry point with those 5 midfielders for Mount Spokane. End up just dumping it long. Goal kick coming up.
And that's a good indication that the 3-5-2, the alignment, as well as the guessing game that Mount Spokane has them doing, that Holy Name's just a little bit frustrated. Mackenzie Oliger, you expect to have her providing a little bit more intelligence on her passes. Faust has been good coming off the bench on the right midfield for Holy Names, but they need to string together some better passes to work their way into the Wildcats' penalty area.
Yeah, the Wildcats will have possession here after the Karam out of bounds, approaching the 5-minute remaining mark in this half. That'd be we're in the 36th minute now of this 40-minute first half.
Soccer's a funny sport. You love to track stats in American sports, and you can do that in soccer. They have their stats, and we talked about the midpoint of the half, sort of the report card on both teams, and the aggressive team was the Cougars, but it was Mount Spokane 7 minutes later that found a way through their leader, Alyssa Lloyd, and of course the goal you've referenced coming off the bench.
Madison Boyd, yeah, picking that one up. As you mentioned earlier, the bench can have a pretty prolific impact here in high school soccer in the state of Washington, and it has thus far. The margin in the game, just the 1 goal. Nice feed up ahead by the Cougars.
Onside.
On the tack. Caitlin Faust met there by Ashley Peterson. Goal kick coming up.
We saw A.J. Fisher shepherded it out a few minutes earlier for Holy Names, and a good job by Peterson. The same thing, that first touch by Faust was really aggressive into the box, and Peterson just coolly stepped in and shepherded that ball within playing distance all the way across the goal line with pressure on her back.
McReynolds and company, the goalkeeper for Mount Spokane, pitching the shutout so far as we're minutes away from the intermission. Cougars trying to see if they can capitalize in the waning minutes. Working that far side. Katrina Holt evading a few folks for a little while, but not before Mount Spokane able to send it back the other way.
We talked earlier about how the Wildcats need to mix things up and work in their midfield. For the Cougars, it's a little bit different. They've got 5 midfielders to beat going against them, and what they're trying to do now, and they're doing with greater success, is get that ball up quicker instead of trying to build from behind or build from the middle. And that's working to success for them. They got the 2 forwards who are either holding it up, but if they give time, for those 5 midfielders to get into defensive posture, it really does defeat the purpose.
McReynolds scooping it up again as the Cougars' attack fizzles a bit. The Cougars trying to get it back. They're in those maroon jerseys and white shorts, the Mount Spokane Wildcats in the white and navy. They'll see if they can add on to this lead. Nearly had one cleared, but deflected off of a Cougar. Back to midfield we go. Kelsey Drinkard, or rather Hannah Powers for the Cougars. And this one booted out of bounds by Claire Capilota.
2 minutes left in the half.
2 minutes to go.
A little bit of that initial energy has gone out of the game for Holy Names, and there are some questions being asked by Mount Spokane, and Holy Names has not come up with them as of yet. That was a foul throw. The back heel you can see was way up. Referees will let a lot of it go, but when it's that obvious, they're going to have to whistle it. You don't see foul throw-ins called very often.
Well, that was the case here, and the Cougars will see if they can capitalize. 90 seconds to go in the opening 40. Here in the 3A Girls State Championships. Glad you could join us here from Sparks Stadium. Alex Webster along with Tom Smee. Winner gets Columbia River tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock for the state championship. Mount Spokane in the white trying to head the other direction. They do here. Left pass to the left side. Carly Frank.
Still alive with Alyssa Lloyd in the ball.
Dangerous down in that corner. And I think we may see a goal kick coming up. And we do, as the Cougars couldn't clear it clean.
Another corner kick, another chance on a set piece for Mount Spokane to go at it. Now, how about that effort by Riley Richardson to get on the ball? And she found Carly Frank, who very nearly made a good effort. But they do win a corner kick, so they still have an opportunity here before the final horn.
Sydney Nelson will take this one from the far corner. Quickly getting to it with 30 seconds to go. In the middle, headed, still alive. Left-footed swing wide of the mark.
And Sydney pretty much almost gave Alyssa Lloyd a chance to go up 2-0. Just not enough momentum on the ball for Lloyd to turn it on the net with any kind of force.
And that'll pretty much sum things up here as we're down to about 10 seconds left with the goal kick out there. This one will lazily bound out of bounds, and I'm not sure if we'll get it back into play before the end of the first half. That is it here in the first half of play as Mount Spokane, the Wildcats, coming up with the goal courtesy of Madison Boyd. Off the bench, they take a 1-0 lead, and we'll be back with our second half in a few minutes after we take this break for a few words and an intermission. This is the WIAA Network.
The future of our state is very important to Washington dairy farmers.
And it starts with our youth. The dairy farmers of Washington have been partnering with the WIAA for years. Sports are very important in building good work ethic.
They help students by teaching them discipline, teamwork, dedication, and preparing them for the challenges that they're going to have later in life.
The Dairy Farmers of Washington encourage you to support local youth by attending WIAA championship events.
At Les Schwab, along with great prices, our tires come with the kind of protection most other places just don't give you, which includes free flat repairs, equal value replacements, pre-trip safety checks, and more for the entire life of the tire. With the other guys, well, you just never know. So why is free protection on your tires good to have?
Lifetime protection. That's our best tire value promise. Les Schwab, doing the right thing since 1952.
At Les Schwab, along with great prices, our tires come with the kind of protection most other places just don't give you, which includes free flat repairs, equal value replacements, pre-trip safety checks, and more for the entire life of the tire. With the other guys, well, you just never know. So why is free protection on your tires good to have?
Lifetime protection. That's our best tire value promise. Les Schwab, doing the right thing since 19...
The future of our state is very important to Washington dairy farmers.
And it starts with our youth. The dairy farmers of Washington have been partnering with the WIAA for years. Sports are very important in building good work ethic.
They help students by teaching them discipline, teamwork, dedication, and preparing them for the challenges that they're going to have later in life.
The dairy farmers of Washington encourage you to support local youth by attending WIAA championship events.
Welcome back to Spark Stadium here in Puyallup, Washington. The WIAA Network presentation of the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington, Les Schwab Tires, 2012 3A Girls State Soccer Championships. This is the second of two semifinals. And here, as we begin the second half of play, it is Mount Spokane, the Wildcats, leading the Cougars of Holy Names 1-0. Glad you could join us. If it's anything like our other semifinal, we've got a lot more soccer action on hand for you. The first semifinal won in penalty kicks by Columbia River over Liberty. Right now, the early advantage in this one, courtesy of a goal from Madison Boyd, assisted by Alyssa Lloyd in the 27th minute of the first half. Tom, what should we expect here in this second half of play?
Well, as you mentioned off camera, that Holy Names is definitely a second half team. They're a second half of the season team, as we've noted about the way they've had to weather injuries and illnesses and all kinds of things to come from behind and take the Metro tournament. But also in games they've come from behind. But Mount Spokane really found their rhythm in that second half. It was all Cougars for the first half, for the most part. And along with Alyssa Lloyd and some other individuals, they've really found a way to take that pressure off and put it on the Cougars. So it should be interesting to see how Coach Metalis responds, as well as has his girls respond, as well as what Coach Ryan Campamella has coached. And it looks like Mount Spokane's going to continue to go at the Cougars, which I think is a smart move.
Mount Spokane in the white with the navy shorts, and Holy Names, the Cougars, in the maroon and white in this one. Flopping sides here to start the second half, and you saw the early charge there by Holy Names. But Shannon McReynolds, the goalkeeper, who's done a nice job for Mount Spokane, able to stop and thwart that attack. Here comes Mount Spokane up the right sideline. Looking for Madison Boyd. Cross, nice stop. Cougars able to get it out of bounds. But Boyd, dangerous.
Boyd coming off the bench, obviously scoring the goal, doing a great job for Coach Campanella off the bench. She gets the start in the second half and very nearly in position to get her second goal on that fantastic cross.
Here's the throw-in coming up. Dallas Flagger. Smartly played. Cougars looking to clear it out. Get it high in the air and look to get control back. And they do.
Talking about the bench, a stalwart coming off the bench, Caitlin Faust, the senior, has come up strong for the Cougars. No score yet to reflect on that, but she's played solid to try to help slow down that Wildcats attack with Carly Frank on her back shoulder right now. And she's playing the left back position for Holy Names, number 18.
Throw in from Mount Spokane. Lost the handle on it there to go off the end line. Goal kick coming up. In that first half, the score picked up, as we mentioned, by Madison Boyd of Mount Spokane. The shots, Mount Spokane just edging Holy Names 3-2. Corner kicks even at 2. The saves, Mount Spokane credited with 1, Holy Names 0. And Mount Spokane a little more aggressive with 4 fouls. Holy Names just 1 in that first half of action. Here comes the Cougar attack, trying to get this one equalized. And a little trip up will get a foul whistled.
Well, Mount Spokane with 4 fouls. That's not too many, really, but they'll take that one any day of the week. As if you can take that deep in the midfield to keep the Holy Names team from putting together attack, when they get going, the Cougars really have a sense of force and purpose about them.
Yeah, Caitlin Faust was looking at the breakaway opportunity. And here's A.J. Fisher that will take the set piece.
A.J. Fisher, I love the way she sees the game. It'll be interesting to see how she gets this restart going.
Nicely headed out by the Wildcats. Cougars with a one-timer high up here. McReynolds will scoop this one up. I think she was waiting for the carry. There she goes, waiting for the bounce, the goal kick.
Any
coming
bit
up.
of English on this field turf, and the ball just takes the bite.
Mount Spokane getting 2 shots from Danica Martin. An assist for Alyssa Lloyd in that first half. Holy Names, their 2 shots coming from McGonigal and Chandler. McGonigal's shot on goal. And that was it so far, but they're trying to mount an attack here. Left sideline. Faust running into trouble.
Michaela McGonigal, another bright spot for Holy Names. That one shot, just the tally on the stat sheet. What she has done, though, along with Mackenzie Oliger at Choice Moments, has taken some initiative. And you mentioned that in the first half. Holy Names on the back foot after that score really needs to find a way, defensively and otherwise, to take the initiative and get into Mount Spokane's face.
Cougars, left-footed boot, going to be too long. Courtesy of Maddie Wilson. And a substitution coming up. Holy Names will have Julia Hahn into the fray.
I like the way she played for the Cougars. She was making it difficult for the Wildcats while they had that momentum. She might have faded just a bit. Not exactly sure why, but it's interesting how she did not get the start here. So she gets a chance to survey the game and come in and make a difference for Holy Names.
Cougars still on the attack. They've spent a good deal of time down in this end of the field, and that's something that we saw a bit of last half, is the Cougars on the attack, but not much to show for it thus far. Centering pass. This one could be trouble. Header. This one corralled for the moment by Reynolds. Still in the play. And out of the melee, here comes the Wildcats. Wow, that the best opportunity for the Cougars so far.
Somewhat of a frenetic melee there in front of the Wildcats' goal. And unusual and uncharacteristic for Shannon McReynolds. She spilled the ball, but nobody for Holy Names could jump on it and really do something with it. Faust maybe had the best look, but again, just a step behind and a free kick to the Wildcats here.
Cougars nearing the equalizing goal here in the early part of the second half of this 3A semifinal. Ooh, some contact over there, and no love lost between those two combatants.
I love the way Alyssa Lloyd plays, and both these teams are not going to give quarter, but again, I've not seen anything dirty or malicious. It's just good, solid physical play from both teams.
And Spokane with the throw-in, intercepted by the Cougars, and then this high shot doesn't have much of a chance, goes off the end line for the goal kick. And, you know, Holy Names winning 9 in a row to get to this point. They had a rough start to the season with illness and injuries under their fifth-year head coach, Teddy Matalis, and they're going to send 10 seniors on off of this team, a 3A state academic award-winning team, a Metro League tournament team, and 6 of the seniors going to move on to play college soccer next year. So obviously some great things happening for Holy Names, but they don't want to end it here. They want to keep things going, and they'll need a goal to equalize. Lost the handle on it there.
Katie Chandler trying to make a turn and feed Faust on the overlap. I'll get their sync together on that.
It only takes one, as we saw in the first semifinal. Columbia River able to come back from a 1-0 deficit to knot things up. Had it tied at the end of regulation, scoreless in overtime, and then winning on place kicks, 5-4. On penalty kicks, I should say. And it took 7 rounds of goal kicks to finally name a victor in that one.
A dramatic affair, definitely, as penalty kicks are wont to be. But especially with a couple of key keeper saves and then a couple of key misses by the takers later in the rounds.
Yeah, so this one almost a mirror image of that affair so far. Ooh, nice feed up ahead. Knight smartly cleared out.
And we're not necessarily rooting for an overtime game in penalty kicks. Actually, quite the opposite. We've got two great 4A semifinals on tap with John Horton, Bill Hansen in the wings to take the call. And folks, not just because of those two, but because of the teams involved especially, you're going to want to tune in if you want to see some good girls state tournament action, semifinals, rounding out the 3A and 4A here. All the other action at other locations, including up the hill from us, with the 2A and the 2B and the 1A and what have you.
It is a banner weekend for prep soccer in the state of Washington. It goes without saying, and certainly we'd all love to see, I think just about everybody would love to see these things decided in regulation and on the field of play and in the proper form as opposed to the penalty kick situation. But that is part of the game, and you have to be prepared for that. Here's Holy Names with another try.
Now, there's a picture of the physicality of Mount Spokane because finding herself in a golden position, Julia Hahn gets the ball, but she's like in a washing machine. She's getting tossed as the dryer, the washing machine tosses it around. And that's the physical nature. Nothing foul about it, but you're going to have some bodies to deal with when you get inside the penalty area.
And Holy Names with a long throw-in coming up. Katie Kipp with the honors. Throws it in short. They look for a little space in here. Flicks it up, and McReynolds almost lost the handle on that one. You know, right now we've seen a couple of plays. That one a beautiful save, but got to secure that ball, and she almost lost the handle on it.
Shannon McReynolds spun in towards the goal, spinning the ball towards the goal. Meanwhile, under the pressure of Julia Hahn, Hahn nearly had her loosen the ball, but also she nearly had McReynolds herself voluntarily carrying the ball into a scored position.
And we almost saw a little wrestling, little grappling taking place there near midfield, and a foul whistled, and Mount Spokane able to corral possession on it. But now working offensively, they'd love to do something that we didn't see in the last game, and that is to take a 2-goal advantage.
And I'm happy to see Holy Names not back down. But you have to be careful. If you're not a physical team, you can rise to the occasion, but don't go too far because it takes you out of your rhythm. It also puts you in awkward positions, not only an injury, but also potentially fouls or cards that could actually bring you down a player, and you don't want to risk that. You've got to play your game, but be ready to hang tough when the moment calls for it.
Wildcats with the throw-in coming up. And they're going to work a little set piece here, I'm sure, trying to see if they can widen this margin. They don't want to see what happened in the first game happen to them. They want to finish this one strongly and finish it with no doubt.
Bit of a wrestle here. Holy Names slowly but surely in fits and starts getting their chances. But now Mount Spokane wrestling the other way and pressuring the Cougars now on their own end and keeping the ball down there.
Alice Flagger with the throw in a moment ago, and she'll have this one coming up as well.
Look at, they've got two along the line, including Lloyd in the near post, mirror image of the goal-scoring opportunity in the first half.
This one in near the net. Cougars trying to scoop it away. Nice shot. This one's going to go off the mark and finally wisely scooped up by Kayla Baskett, the keeper over there. I think she was thinking about letting that one go wide, but got a little bit of pressure and then secured it.
Danica Martin, one of those 5 midfielders. She had 2 shots attempted in the first half, and that was her shot attempt that was going wide. And she followed it up, to her credit as well.
Exactly. Names with an opportunity, and Mount Spokane able to clear it. Now they're looking for their own opportunity offensively here. They're trying to keep a few folks back here, working on this 1-0 advantage with 27 minutes and perhaps some extra time remaining, separating them from a championship date with Columbia River tomorrow.
Emily Suhodolnik trying to call for the ball there. She worked hard to earn it, but it'll come back to you. Those midfield throws, hardly material.
Wow, big carom. Cougars able to receive it, control it back there.
And Madison Boyd making the most.
A takeaway from Mount Spokane. They've got a nice centering pass. Challenge. This one is in the net.
Oh, my goodness.
Score! Mount Spokane.
Well, Mount Spokane kept at it. We got to hope that she's all right so that she can actually enjoy the result. But the persistence of Madison Boyd really paid off for her and for the Wildcats. And she's tended to by her teammates and hobbling when she gets up. That's conflicting feelings, no doubt.
Madison Boyd right in the middle of things would be her second goal, and now she's off the field, off the end line, is going to get attended to here. But not sure. We haven't seen a change on the scoreboard here.
It will be coming. It's good job by the officials as the center referee Eldridge went and checked with the near linesman. The assistant referee in great position just to double check and make sure there was no foul or any handball or something like that was missed. What a crazy goal. A good job by Basket to come out, but she didn't secure the ball. And bouncing and bobbling, it was last touched and put in by Madison Boyd, who's earned her 2 tonight and has a little bit to pay for it. Hopefully she'll be all right as they tend to her behind the goal.
Ooh, a big shove and a big foul here on Mount Spokane, and a warning coming up here. And wow, surprised not a yellow card. That was a pretty good hammer right there. But a 2-goal lead for Mount Spokane with just 26 minutes remaining for Holy Names to try and mount a comeback here. And Madison Boyd now up on her feet at the other end, walking with a little assistance. Set piece drilled out by Mount Spokane. They're undefeated this year, trying to go to 20-0. And that 2-0 lead over Holy Names, they'd love to see it stand up. Cougars centering it out, and this one's off the end line. Goal kick coming.
The Cougars show the willingness to play this one to the end. The 2-goal lead is tough. Many coaches will tell you it's the toughest one to have, but you'd much rather have it than be the one chasing the 2-goal lead. And on that foul from behind, I think Annie Flora maybe embellished that just a bit. She got a solid push from behind, no doubt about it. Her first real stern talking to, I think, was appropriate for the referee not to show the yellow there. And we have a substitution for Mount Spokane during the stoppage as the Cougars to restart with the goal kick. Checking in for the first time, number 5, Annie Schellerud.
And the Cougars not giving up. They've got that offense working. This one into the defensive line, centering pass. McReynolds there to scoop it up. Did not get enough on it. On that shot on goal, and McReynolds, a fairly routine save opportunity there.
Good work on the byline and getting that ball cut back. McConnell had to cut back herself just to get a good look at it. She did not get good contact. She wants that one back.
Cougars know they're in desperate times here, needing to collect a couple of goals, but it all starts with one. Just needing to get a quick strike up here to make it a one-score affair. Mount Spokane, we'll see if any of their tactics change now with the 2-goal margin, whether they pack it in a bit or stay on the offensive. Here they just choose to fling one to the side as opposed to kicking it up ahead, so we may get an indicator there of how they want to play the final 24.
I like the senior leadership of number 10 and number 19, Faust receiving the ball in the throw-in, as well as Oliger, number 10. Mackenzie Oliger has really been an important player.
Tripping foul on Caitlin Faust.
I guess that's one way to contribute and show you around the field.
Well, right there, just you see the intensity taken up a notch here in this second half. A goal for Madison Boyd. She's got 2 of them on the night, and that is the margin for Mount Spokane. Boyd, just a sophomore.
Number 5, a sophomore, Annie Schellerud, just came off the bench, and you could see her protect herself and really follow through on her challenge with Caitlin Faust, the senior defender who's playing a lot more attacking soccer in her position, taking up more of a midfield position. But a little bit of concern of that, because if it becomes a game like that, the referee's going to have to pull it way back. One thing to protect yourself is another to go all out and go a bit too far and risk injury to yourself or to your opponent.
Schellerud losing the handle there. Here's the throw-in from Faust. Wildcats content to keep moving it outside, but they lose the handle. Here comes Holy Names. Oliger.
And you can just see Oliger's confidence on the ball. She's got her eyes on the field, and she's doing a good job controlling it, looking for options. She's going to need more help, though.
Faust again with the throw-in. Cougars trying to get this out in front of the net. Opportunity deflected. Goal kick, or rather corner kick coming up.
So that's good work. Again, Julia Hahn, number 6, doing a good job to force the corner. I thought she might have been in an offside position. The referee in perfect line did not call it. And she just attacked that near post, forcing Mount Spokane to play it out. Those corner kicks are an opportunity. Dead ball opportunities are an opportunity to score. And they've got to get more out of it, the Cougars do.
Senior midfielder Caitlin Faust putting this one a little bit too far outside, but kept in play by Holy Names. And this one mishit. And the Cougars a missed opportunity.
Remember I talked about the bottle cap this time, so Haldernick was not on that far side. Had she been, she would have had an easier and more space to play that ball. Soccer is a game about time and space. When you have space, you have the time to play the ball. Her effort to get the ball back in on the cross, good idea, but she would have been able to do better had she given herself more time and had an opportunity to do a better job, give the Cougars a chance to have somebody run onto it.
Mount Spokane, they're not running and hiding. They feed this one up ahead to the offensive side. And the front line can't control. It's booted out of play by Katie Kipp on the defensive line.
Solid, decisive defending, especially under pressure. When your team's hustling back and you have a chance, they show you the ball. You must get it out of play.
She just swept that one, allowed her team to get back here. And, of course, with this track around the field and all the time that is spent by these teams tracking down that ball and coming back, everybody gets a little breather. Here's the throw-in coming from Mount Spokane. Good chuck. Cougars able to clear it out, though. That time, Hannah Sullivan, or rather, Claire Capilotto, able to move it out.
Quietly, Claire Capilotto's had a good half playing that left cornerback position defensively. Really didn't have anybody from her corner become dangerous for the Wildcats.
Wildcats working on that 2-0 advantage. Haven't took the foot off the pedal to the metal yet. Here's an opportunity.
Look at that play by Olliger. You don't think of her as a rough and tough defender, but she just won the ball from one of the best midfielders in the tournament.
And she works it up ahead. Now head to Hahn. Working the left sideline, trying to feed it up ahead. This is Chandler on the left wing. Wildcats able to scoot it out, but kept by the Cougars. Olliger.
Kelsey Frank, number 23 for the Wildcats, just making a solid play in her defensive corner, too, the right fullback. And we called her name in the first half. She was a part of that first opening goal, as far as we could tell, and with the long throw-ins. But she's a tough defender, too, very heady.
Capilotto with the short throw-in for the Cougars. Now they will try to work it into that defensive backfield. Kept alive. Up ahead off the end line, goal kick.
Well, feisty and helpful work by number 5 for the Wildcats. Remember the substitute, the sophomore, Annie Schullerud. And you come in as a young player off the bench. You want to show your coach something. You've got to play solid, no mistakes. And you also want to leave something in the field. You want to leave an impression. And so far, Schullerud in the short minutes here, her first action in the second half, doing a good job.
Mount Spokane working on the 2-0 advantage. One more goal, and they can all but punch their ticket into the championship game tomorrow. Still a lot of work out there to be done for both squads.
And, Alex, we're at the midpoint of the second half, and the scorecards, if you want to take a look at that way, is a solid B, a solid result by Mount Spokane, coming up and not giving anything, getting that go-ahead goal. For Holy Names, they've shown some, but they really haven't shown they have answers. They haven't taken this game by the throat at all. They fought hard, give them credit, but they really haven't shown an ability to get in on goal with Shannon McReynolds playing so well between the pipes. They need to get better looks and give themselves more of an opportunity as a team in the box.
And getting those opportunities, when they get those opportunities, to finish.
Yep.
And they've had a couple of opportunities, and whether it's been McReynolds or whether it's been the defense or whether it's just been a mishit, have not been able to come away with that goal that they need so badly at this point.
And to me, their strength and their bright spots have been that one right there, number 10, Oliger in the midfield, Faust as well, and number 6, Julia Hahn's done a great job all game long.
Here's the feed up the right side, and this one swept out by Holy Names. A.J. Fisher, name that we called a lot in that first half.
Yep. Like the way she plays. She sees the game really well. And Alyssa Lloyd goes right up on that near post.
Here's the throw in. Coming up from Flagger. This one over the head of several players and finally swept out once more, this time by Holy Names McGonigal.
And Michaela McGonigal doing a good job to not give up the corner kick, but to force the throw in. Unfortunately, the reality is there's going to be some time wastage along the lines due to the nature of the configuration of the stadium. But that's just part of the deal that you bought into.
Everybody plays the same field.
That's right.
Throwing again from Flagger. This one a challenge over the top. A little bit too high, but a great effort there by Mount Spokane.
Alyssa Lloyd turning on the ball. Remember, she was the provider in that first goal in the first half by Boyd. And she turned around, and she had an idea where that far post was, and she was heading for the inside of that netting, just knocking it wide.
And here come the Cougars back the other way, trying to turn things around, see if their counterattack can work. They've got an opportunity here. This one a shot just wide of the goal to the right.
Well, it's 1 against 4, 2 or 3 around the ball, so not a bad opportunity in terms of just getting yourself a shot. I like to get that on frame, but under the pressure she did fairly well.
I think that was Julia Hahn over there, and you get to that point where you're down 2-0. If you get it anywhere near position, you got to get at least a foot onto it.
And really, that's the job of a forward. You have to think fearlessly. You love the 1-on-2s, the 1-on-3s, the 1-on-5s, because in your mind, you can take anyone on. Of course, the coach wants you to find just the right time and moment, and no one else there to help her out. So for Julie to take that time and try to make something of it, I think she did fairly well.
Yep, little attacking feed that goes too long once again. And another goal kick coming up for Mount Spokane, who looking to improve to 20-0 this season. And despite not placing in 4 state appearances over the past 5 seasons, they won first-round games in 2007 and last season. This is considered to be perhaps their best team. They were the Greater Spokane League champions under head coach Roy Campanella in his 8th season at the helm.
All right, now the way it's shaping up, it looks like the champion and representative from the Greater Spokane League will be taking on the champion and representative from the Greater Mount St. Helens League.
And they'll find out who's greater tomorrow, potentially at 2 o'clock. But still, Holy Names, 15 minutes to try and find some magic in a bottle and get a couple of equalizers here.
Cougars hope to have something to say about it, and what's working for them now is their energy is staying in, even with these delays to get the ball and so forth. Remember, they actually lost energy. There was a sense that the last 10 minutes were almost like, we don't have any answers here. They found them and they've come out, but they need to just piece it together and find their footing and build on every success.
Oh, little whistle on the near side. Looked like there was some clean play, but a foul against Mount Spokane. And a throw-in coming up. There it is, and right back over to Mount Spokane. But Cougars, opportunity, and that another one of those attempts that you saw. Hahn, I think, trying to, despite being 20 yards out, look to get a leg into it and give it a shot. And McReynolds has not played flawlessly in goal despite the shutout.
No.
She's had a few bobbles back there, and, you know, if you can get the attack up there and force the issue a little bit, it would be good for the Cougars.
Take the initiative, follow up every ball. Get ready to pounce on any opportunity she may leave for you. Should note that number 4, Kamara King, checks in, the sophomore forward. And sometimes as coach, you're just trying to see if you can dial up the right combination. We've seen Siggy Schmidt do it for the Sounders. Who's the one to come off the bench and make a difference for my team? A goal now would really pick up a Holy Names.
At this stage as well, stamina starting to come into play. Some fresh legs may be able to help pay some dividends on that scoreboard. We're not sure exactly what we'll see in terms of extra time. I don't think we'll see much. We haven't seen a great deal of injuries in this one, thankfully. 13 minutes and change to go.
And it's Mount Spokane playing with the energy as if they're 2 goals down, the way they're scrambling out there and continue to attack the Holy Names box.
And the attack in there, a little give and go on the feed. Now a little pass off here, deflected partially, shot deflected again. So a missed opportunity for Mount Spokane, but it's not completely done yet as they corral out near midfield. One-timer goes long, and now the Cougars can reset.
Boy, you're going to hold your breath if you're a Cougar fan. Riley Richardson just does not give up, and she gets the deflection to fall to her feet, much like her teammate Miss Boyd did when it fell to her feet, and she kind of bike-wheeled it in, falling down on the collision with Kayla Baskett. But Baskett, not much to deal with there. Very nearly Richardson with an opportunity for a good, solid shot on goal. And then, of course, the rebound to Alyssa Lloyd, and that's not by any means or any stretch what the Cougars want to see in the defense.
Not at all.
Don't give it to her.
Nope. She's had a hand in things a bit, but 10 goals, 10 assists coming in. Credit for an assist, at least thus far, in this one. 2-0 lead for Mount Spokane, and sometimes the best defense is a good offense, and keeping that offensive pressure on keeps the Cougars from mounting an attack. They have to put together a solid counterattack, and that's what they're working on right here. Good feed up ahead. Going to be a challenge here. Shot on goal. McReynolds deflects, and this one maintained smartly here by Mount Spokane. My goodness, King.
The sophomore very nearly came in and put it under the outstretched wings of Shannon McReynolds, and here it goes the other way.
Mount Spokane back the other direction. Bezdacek around Cougars. This one deflected away. A little push down there, no call. Attack. This one deflected as well. Another push down.
Bodies everywhere in the penalty area.
It's getting intense down there. Shot from far out. This one a little bit left, as it was Mount Spokane's Riley Richardson who had that last touch. But things not settling into boring, let's put it that way.
No, but again, Mount Spokane just hurling everything at that Cougar goal. Lloyd, boy, the way she plays, there's no fouls there. She was just rock steady on the challenge, and I believe it was McGonigal who has shown us anyhow that she's not afraid to go at it. And then, of course, the feed into Richardson, who very nearly captured that in an opportunity on goal. Might have been halfway in between a flick or trying to trap the ball for a second touch shot.
Caitlin Faust checking back in here at that stoppage of play a moment ago. Another opportunity here for Mount Spokane, cleared out by the Cougars. And up ahead, let's see if they can get something going the other direction. But the Wildcats able to take it back to midfield. Cougars looking to set up some space over there on that right side. This one run down. The wing.
Nice speed.
Evading some defenders. Little one-timer that gets deflected. Good. Back out towards midfield.
Good defense and Oliger's shot attempt. They snuffed it before it got away.
This one pushed back in and headed, I'm not sure if intentional or not, but right back at the keeper, McReynolds.
Yep, and intentional or not, if it comes off the head, no problem. But if you intentionally play it with your foot, then you're looking at an indirect kick against you. So heady play in more ways than one for the Wildcats defense. I know. I'll have to excuse myself and pay my way back into the booth, won't I, with that one?
Very punny. Very punny. Here comes Mount Spokane again, centering this one. Mishandled for the moment, then cleared out a bit.
Capoletto's been called on in odd situations here.
Whitney Weaver working that left side for Mount Spokane, back to the middle. Over to the far, or rather the near side, Schellerud. And the Cougars clear it out.
Suspicion of handball there, no one claiming it. Play continues.
Officials thinking, let's play on. Here's going to be a duel. A fight for this one as here comes Holy Names Kamariah King. Going one-on-one. Bringing it to the middle. Shot on goal. McReynolds there right for the save.
Where has she been? She comes off the bench and 2 straight threats. Are there enough minutes for the Cougars now? Down to less than 9, Alex.
McReynolds in solid position to make that stop. But Holy Names in need of 2, but they need to get the first one.
Works to the Cougars' advantage as the field gets a bit stretched here with the back and forth play.
8.5 to go, plus whatever they dole out for extra time. Holy Names now, a little 2-on-3. This one cleared back out, though. Not all the way out to midfield. The Cougars.
That's a tough ball.
With Faust trying to feed up that right sideline, looking for Flora and finding the sideline out of bounds.
Well, both coaches going to the bench on a regular basis. Riley Richardson has put in some great minutes running and trying to keep those Cougars busy on the defensive end. So now Coach Ryan Campanella throws in and replaces a forward with a midfielder. So a 3-5-2 becomes a 3-6-2. No, can't do that, of course. It's a 3-5-2. They're just adjusting personnel.
Carly Frank is the one checking in.
And there goes your Wembley clear to buy some time as the ball bounces over the fence along the far sideline.
Yeah, I was going to say, do they have another ball in there? There it is. They've got a couple of them out there, but that one, they might have to find a valet to get that one.
A little nuance in goalkeeper Shannon McReynolds' games. When you have to retrieve a ball late in the game when you're leading 2-0, take a little more time to roll it out there.
Yeah, don't mind tying your shoe while you're at it as well, too. 7:16 and counting down here, plus whatever they dole out for extra time. 2-0. Mount Spokane looking to improve to 20-0.
And the battle of the undefeateds taking crystal shape here. With minutes to go, the Cougars would like to change that storyline, but right now, undefeated Mount Spokane looking to book their spot in against Columbia River. The Chieftains
also undefeated.
Also undefeated with just 2 ties. And wouldn't that be a final?
Oh, so, heartbreak for whoever cannot finish that one out potentially tomorrow, but 6:40 left in this one. Holy Names, they've had a couple of challenges from Kamariah King, just a sophomore out of that forward position off the bench. She challenges there. Deflected again by Mount Spokane. Now they get the takeaway. Up the sideline, feeding up ahead. Going to be a race for it. Booted away smartly by the keeper. She'll have to get back in goal as Mount Spokane getting another shot out there. This one at least into the box. And here comes Basket to pick it up.
Kayla Basket, the goalkeeper, just a bit indecisive about whether or not she should come out. You've got to make quick decisions and then stick with them, live or die. And she was fortunate she got there before the forward could jump on it for the Wildcats.
And get into no man's land there, but made the right call as they were able to stem the offensive attack briefly. This one back out to midfield. Mount Spokane, they're not letting off the gas pedal here. Little miss here. Here's King, able to sweep it, but was it deflected?
Yep, Kelsey Frank came out and cleaned things up there. So that gives a chance for the Cougars to set up things and have a little more bodies up front, but also for the Wildcats, look at how many white shirts are behind the ball.
Hahn with the throw-in, and that one Karen back out once again.
So with King on the field, Hahn now coming out and playing more in a left midfield position. Faust has flipped to the other side. She's been working what Coach Metalis is doing, is trying to take the playmakers who's shown him in the game what they can do and roll the dice and get the right players up there. Faust was effective up top. I'm not sure how well she's done in the midfield, though.
Cougars lose possession here, trying to get it back, but Mount Spokane giving it right back. Knocked out of play by Hannah Powers, or rather, by Danica Martin.
And if you're asking yourself, who can they come up with as leading scorers? Julia Hahn with 15 goals and 8 assists. Annie Flora, we called her name a lot early with 13. Chandler with 11. Haven't called her name a lot. And a few others with multiple goals for the Cougars.
Mount Spokane sending it back the other way.
Yeah. And who is this Kamariah King who comes in? Well, she has 8 goals and 2 assists to her credit, too. So when he goes to the bench, he knows what he's talking about. And Caitlin Faust, 2 goals and 7 assists. So he's got a good combination going for Holy Names. For Mount Spokane, Campanella is saying, you know what, I like my players right now. Just let's keep this game in grip.
Long throw in. Up the sideline. Cougars trying to send it back the other direction, and they do. Swept away, but King keeps it in. Trying to add to that lofty goal total. And then 1-on-4 here, but McReynolds takes the one hopper.
I got to tell you, the sparkle of King, whenever she gets on the ball, there's a sense that something's going to happen. I have to wonder why she was kept in the wings until late in the second half.
It's a very good question right now. The question is whether or not Mount Spokane can hang on to this 2-0 lead as the Cougars try to mount an attack. Little swing and a miss. Here's a shot just wide of the goal.
What a beauty by Katie Chandler, as if to answer my question, why has she been in the field? We haven't called her name a lot, but just like Alyssa Lloyd earlier, she just turned and lined it up, and it just didn't bend quite rightly for her. An excellent effort by Chandler.
McReynolds Must have known what she was doing, looking at that one swing wide. And here's the goal kick from McReynolds.
That's one of those where the goalkeeper almost doesn't move. It's like it's either in or out. There's nothing I can do about it.
You know, that was true. If that one was going to be in, there wouldn't have been anything she could have done about that one. Mount Spokane keeping the pressure on, however. Cougars trying to get it quickly back the other direction. Little pinball action in the middle. 2:41 and counting down. Mount Spokane looking with every second off the clock more and more like a championship contender as it shapes to be, as you mentioned, undefeated versus undefeated. Mount Spokane, Columbia River. But can Holy Names say something about it here in the final few minutes?
Mount Spokane continues the pressure, Alex.
They do, and up the right sideline here. Giving it to Whitney Weaver. Here's a centering feed. Shot deflected by the Cougars. Back out towards midfield. They've got a little bit of numbers. 2 minutes remaining. Does not appear to be any extra time slated for this one.
It's a wide open game now. You're going to need a bounce to go your way for Holy Names, but whatever you do, put yourself in position to score. You get one, the clock stops, the kickoff happens, and you still have a chance to draw even. That's what you're thinking. For Mount Spokane, go ahead and continue. Just play solid. You got the bodies behind the ball. If you're not sure about getting it to a teammate, do what that young lady did. Just kick it out of play.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, there's not much Mount Spokane can really do. They can't feel too tense or tight about much of anything. Just play soccer, and when in doubt, kick it out.
Sounds like a nice rhyme I can remember.
1:12 and counting down. Mount Spokane clearing it up ahead. Wrong end of the field for the Cougars. Mount Spokane, they're going to try and hustle it. This is Weaver.
Excellent job buying time and also finding a teammate to keep the ball alive.
Shellerud over on that left wing, back to the middle. Holy Names got to get it back to the other end of the field. Under a minute to go.
So often we see players dribble to the flags. The whole spirit of this game with all four teams that we've seen at it with each other, they have gone at it with each other, all four teams, so well. You know what? That bronze medal game tomorrow is going to look awfully attractive as well as the championship game tomorrow.
Several subs checking in for Mount Spokane. 3 of them here as the celebration is just about on for the Wildcats. 17 seconds remaining.
Ooh.
Challenge in front. Couple of white shirts out in front of that goal. Under 10 seconds to go now.
5, 4, 3.
You can hear the PA announcer call this one off. It is over. Mount Spokane defeating Holy Names in the second of our semifinal tonight. Liberty and Holy Names will play in a consolation matchup tomorrow for third place at 10 a.m. But in the 3A championship game, undefeated versus undefeated, as the champion of the Greater Spokane League, Mount Spokane will take on the Mount St. Helens winner, Columbia River, in a showdown tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon. We'll have that one for you here on the WIAA network, but how about this victory for Mount Spokane tonight?
Outstanding game. Both teams really threw it all out there. A sense that it just wasn't the day for the Cougars, but that comes from the pressure and the poise of Mount Spokane. The final tomorrow is going to be exciting. I'm also excited about that bronze medal match. And with a great day of soccer here, with the 4A semifinals coming up and the 4A and 3A championships tomorrow, it's been a heck of a game. Outstanding performance. And how about Madison Boyd coming off the bench and getting those 2 goals? My player of the game.
Yep, Madison Boyd, just a sophomore. There'll be a lot to hear from her, but right now it's the Wildcats who want to hear something big tomorrow in that championship matchup. The final score here in this semifinal, Mount Spokane 2, Holy Names 0. That's all for now from Spark Stadium in Puyallup. You've been watching the WIAA Dairy Farmers of Washington, Les Schwab Tires 3A Girls Soccer Championships on the WIAA Network. Good night, everybody.